All right, guys, this is the third video, but it's actually just the second video. It's the second topic. Okay, now what we're going to be doing is I'm using that same sheet that I shared with you. Now we're going to be talking about the axis of symmetry. So sorry, I thought I had this ready. So we're talking about the axis of symmetry and what that is. Well, and the vertex. Okay, alrighty, so you know from the first video that the solutions to this quadratic are the same as the x-intercepts, right? You know that. So we know that this is going to be x minus 5 and x minus 1. So we know the two solutions are going to be x is equal to 5 and x is equal to 1. Thus, the x-intercepts are 5, 0 and 1, 0. Okay? And then we know also that the y-intercept is 0, 5 because that's the c value. And then I had you cross out the vertex. Okay, but I want to talk to you about the vertex. And this is how we find it. First of all, let's talk about what the axis of symmetry is. And I thought if I pulled up Desmos, I'd be able to continue this, but I don't think I can. All right, so I'm going to try to graph it a little more cleanly. Okay, I know that I have 1 point at 1, 0. Please let this dot stay. Okay, and I also know I have one at 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course it disappeared. Maybe I'll let them stay. Okay, and then we also have, and I also have one at 0, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, okay, and so I know also that it's going to open up. It's going to be a smiley face. Stop this. It's going to be a smiley face, but we can go a step further and figure out the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry, if I were just to draw a perfect parabola here, okay, and that's perfect. We're going to imagine that that is perfect. Okay, the axis of symmetry goes right through the very middle of the parabola. So if I were to fold this side using this axis of symmetry onto the other side, it would line up right on top. It splits it in half. Okay, you guys know about if something is symmetrical or not, right? So the axis of symmetry is the line that goes right through the vertex, and it splits the parabola exactly in half. That is the axis of symmetry. It's a vertical line always, so it's going to be something like x equals something. That's what vertical lines are, right? Because horizontal lines are y equals something. So this axis of symmetry is going to be x equals some number. Okay, so if we go back to this problem at hand then, this is how you find the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is going to be simple. It's going to be x equals negative b over 2a. Okay, and if I had done what Mrs. Williams asked me to do, I would have labeled everything over here. I would have said that, well, a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 6, and c is equal to 5, right? Okay, and so then I would just plug these values in. So my x is going to be equal to, again, this is what I'm solving for, my axis of symmetry, negative, whatever the b is, in this case it's negative 6, so make sure you put your parentheses, over 2 times 1, because my a is 1. I'm going to have to scoot up here to the top. So x is going to be equal to negative 6, that's 6, over 2 times 1, which is 2. My axis of symmetry is x equals 3, which makes sense, right? The 3 is halfway between the 1 and the 5, so I can draw my axis of symmetry. It's that vertical line, x equals 3. That's where the parabola is split in half. Okay, well, how do I find the y value of the vertex? I know the vertex is going to be 3 comma something, right? I know the x value is 3 because the vertex is on the axis of symmetry. Well, gosh, let's look at this equation. Running out of room here. Let's look at the equation of x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals y. If I know what my x is, okay, can I plug in what I know at being my x and solve for my y? Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to get green now. So it's going to be 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 5. That will equal the y coordinate of my vertex. Okay, so it's going to be 9 minus 18 plus 5 equals y. Well, 9 minus 18 is negative 9 plus 5 equals y. So then negative 4 equals y. So my vertex is 3, negative 4. Okay, my axis of symmetry is x equals 3. That's where I got my x value to plug in here. Okay, so that is my vertex. So I could plot that 3, and then I'd go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like this. And then I can plot my parabola. Okay, let's do another one. All right, make it bigger. Okay, so let's say I have, it didn't help, did it? Go back. Okay, let's say I have 3x squared minus 4x plus 1. Let's go ahead and identify everything that I always ask you to identify. So my a is 3, my b is negative 4, and my c is 1. Okay? And again, you can use Desmos to figure all of this stuff out, but I'm trying to show you how you can do it mathematically as well. Okay, so first I need my x-intercepts, and that's what we talked about last lesson. So actually, you know what? You can figure that out. That was from last lesson. Let's talk strictly on the axis of symmetry. And my vertex. Okay. So again, axis of symmetry, that's going to be x equals something because it's a vertical line. Okay, vertical lines always are x equals something. Okay, so we find that, remember, this is a little formula that you'll need to remember. X is equal to negative b over 2 times a. Okay, so then we plug in. I know my b is negative 4. I know my a is 3. So x is going to be equal to negative parentheses, negative 4 over 2 times 3. This one isn't the prettiest in the world. All right, so then, make sure I did it right. Yeah, so it'll be 4/6, which simplifies to 2/3. Okay, so my vertex would have an x coordinate of 2/3. So I think this is where the vertex was. So 2/3, comma. Now I'm looking for that y value. Okay, and I'm going to have Desmos help me with that. But again, all I do is plug that x value in for those x values and solve for y. So it's going to be 3 times 2/3 squared minus 4 times 2/3 plus 1. Okay, and let's just go ahead and do this lovely math. So it's going to be 3 times 4/9 minus 8/3 plus 1. Okay, this goes away. So 4/3 minus 8/3, and let's just change this to thirds, plus 3/3. All right, and I can change these around however I would want to do it, right? So I'm going to add these guys first. So that's 7/3 minus 8/3, going to be negative 1/3. Okay, so my y value of my vertex is negative 1/3. Okay, again, if it were me and I was asked to do this, I would put this whole expression into Desmos, okay, and let it do the work for you. You can do that. You can do it. I know your brains can do it, but I would use the calculator. Okay, so you find your axis of symmetry first. X equals negative b over 2a. So the axis of symmetry in this case is x equals 2/3. That's your axis of symmetry. That's one of the answers you'll probably need here. Then your vertex is 2/3, comma, negative 1/3.